Yo, what's up, peeps? It's me, BLK, Ade, Junior, whatever all these people are calling me, whatever the internet wants to call me now. Feeling a little bit under the weather, so got some lamb sip with some cod liver oil. To be fair, it tastes like shit, but yeah, gotta get better. But today, I'm gonna be reviewing Elmers End goals. It's that Elmers End. We're at the fucking goals, 5-a-side in Elmers End. I'm about to get into some of this football. Something I wanted to do, play football in different places, and I feel like whenever I'm trying to Google to find out where the best pitch is or how a pitch is when I've been told I'm going to play somewhere, I really never know what it's like. End up seeing some shit pictures on Google about it, whether it's a 5-a-side complex that, you know, you would expect someone to have said something about. And I played there last night. This is a Thursday night. Thursday night in, well, beginning of March. It's in South London. It's quite deep south. I think it's quite close to Crystal Palace Station. That's how I got there. We had a 5-a-side game there. I mean, what can I say about it? First of all, I could start with complex itself. It's quite impressive. It's quite big. It's got about 14 to 15 pitches. Got 2 big 7-a-side pitches, which look good from the outside, I'm not going to lie. Your typical goal setup for anyone who plays 5-a-side or 7-a-side football regularly at one of the goals complexes, you know what it looks like. So it's got, you know, quite a lot of pitches, a lot of 5-a-side pitches going on. It's quite vibrant, good atmosphere, loads of people there, games going on pretty much every pitch. There weren't a free place. There's even, you know, for the people who like to look for ringers or who need ringers for teams that don't usually get a lot of people coming down. There were a couple of people just watching people play football, which is good to see. It's quite encouraging when, you know, you've got a football culture and a football crowd there. You've got the South London's finest people there. So big guys, small guys, little guys, young guys, it's all diverse mix of ages and type of people. It's really good, really cool setup. Well lit at night, so really easy to see. No real dark patches in the corners of places, you know, where this one floodlight don't work and they ain't fixed it and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of facilities, really good. First off, you can talk about the changing room. It's got your standard showers. It's got locker rooms for you. A couple of bays in the middle with a couple benches for you to sit down and get changed. It's quite open plan, so you're not really going to be cramped next to somebody's, like, you know, penis by your ear or some shit like that. It's pretty good. It's spacious. Showers are quite clean, which is impressive. You know, sometimes you see places and the showers have been dripping down and the floor's all moldy and brown and stuff like that. Nah, it's quite clean. So it was refreshing to see. I mean, I would have a shower in there, and I never shower at these places. That's just my preference. I know there's people who love to do it, but I don't really. But yeah, the canteen, what am I gonna call it? The bar area. It's pretty cool. They've got your regular pumps, they've got ciders, beers there, little space. It's not as big as some of the goals that I have seen, where they have full-blown function rooms with different sections. It could be like, you know, I don't know what square meters it is. I'm not going to try and guess, but it's not that big. It's like the size of like 3 of my front room, so to speak. I know you can't see my front room, but just imagine a house size, like about 3 of them put together. It's got one crescent bench with another side to it, one table at the back. But then there's an interesting kind of slogan on the wall in the top corner, which is, I think it says, if there was no such thing as footballers, we'll all be stressed footballers or something like that. But you can see it, it's pretty good. It's a good slogan, good thing to read. But there's no real there's no real atmosphere in there. I've been to some other places, some other complexes, and you know, after the games, there's loads of people in there, they cook food, it's just vibrant, there's people having a laugh. I don't think this is one of those places where people stay too long after, because it's right by the station, it's right by Elmers End station. But at the same time, I just don't think it's somewhere where a lot of people kind of stay and, you know, get in contact with each other and talk and blah blah blah. It's just one of those that people play the game and go home, it seems. Because I was there quite, you know, mid-evening. I mean, for football, it was like 8, 9 o'clock and it was empty. Throughout, my team pretty much took up the whole room when we finished playing in there. People just get changed, put their boots on and go. So it's reasonably priced. We had 10 people, but we only had 8 show up, 8 or 9 show up, and we had to borrow 2 ringers, which was good to have people waiting on the sides to play. And the people that actually came to play, I don't know if it was just a day, but were actually quite quality players. And it was about, you know, £7 each is standard between all of us. So yeah, not expensive, not going to break the bank. I mean, football is generally expensive to play on these surfaces and in these complexes, but it's standard what you'd expect to pay. I've paid like £10 for a game full of, you know, 7-a-side people, so it's quite good to only pay £7. in regards to, I mean, this is where I wanted to get into the nitty gritty. The pitch. So the pitch itself, I don't know, I've played on some surfaces. I don't know how long ago the five-a-side pitches were laid, whether they were laid as, you know, recently as the seven-a-sides. They look nice. I mean, from the outside, they've got the stripes, you know, the dark green and the light green stripes, and it looks really plush and pretty from the outside. But when you actually get on the pitch, it's one of those surfaces I never really, on, it's 3G, so it's got the rubber crumb. I think it's got a bit too much rubber crumb if you ask me, but it's needed. And it's one of those when I got home, took off my boot, you know, it's just basically like, I was just, you know, crushing coal in my foot. Just a whole load of black pebbles to start falling out. But we deal with it. I mean, anybody who plays on those pitches knows that's a common problem. But this one has quite a lot of it. But I think the terrain itself, it's not the greatest, I would say. I think just because it looks flat from the outside, but when you actually play on it and you have a ball rolling on it, it doesn't roll as evenly as some other 3G pitches I've seen. There's little divots where it bobbles up and down. Sometimes that affects your touch. But for those of people who don't have, who aren't blessed with such a great first touch, you know, and you have to wait for the ball and you're looking at the ball, it sometimes can move on just rolling on the ground itself and move out of position because the ground isn't always even. And the ground is quite hard to the foot. I play in Astros, as I said. I don't play with, you know, molds, which a lot of people do. And for me, I don't understand on those type of pitches how people can play with molds because it's a very hard surface and, you know, wear your ankles. If you're one of these people who's got weak ankles or who's ever had issues with their ankles before, it will probably wear your ankles a little bit because it's quite hard, it's quite tough. When you land and when you jump, when you're sprinting at full speed, you're feeling it. I mean, it's still playable. The goal nets themselves, the seven-a-side ones are the slim ones, the slimline ones. So, I mean, there's pitches I've played where they have like kind of a decent sized width, which is like, I don't know, let's say, you know, 15 footsteps, whereas these are the quite tight ones that if you put someone in the middle, you've literally got like centimeters to the side, which some people like to play with. Some people don't like the wider goals. I prefer the wider goal just because you can score more spectacular goals. You know, you can take shots from distance and aim for corners, whereas, you know, with these you can't necessarily aim for the corners with your shots because, or you can aim for the corners, but it's down to the keeper. They have to make a mistake if they're not going to save it. So yeah, it's one of those type of pitches with it's quite wide, but then I think it's longer than it is wide. So to switch it from side to side, let's say you're playing in a match, it's not so difficult because it's not as narrow. I mean, it's not as wide as some pitches that I played on before. It is wide, but not as wide as some pitches I've played on before. Whereas, you know, going down the line, if we're talking about length of the pitch, it is quite a long pitch. I mean, to get from one end to the other, you would run out of puff if you're one of the more unfit people. I mean, it is quite a bit of a workout getting one end to the other. It's a long pitch. So if you're playing seven-a-side, it's not the kind of seven-a-side pitch where you're going to have a fast pop dynamic game going from end to end. You know, there's pitches that are more wider and in terms of lengthwise, they're a little shorter. Whereas this is like quite a long, narrow pitch in the grand scheme of things. So in terms of playing football on there, you're going to need to pass through the lines a bit more, especially seven-a-side games. You're going to need to progressively pass forwards. You can't have somebody drive from one end to the other. So all you greedy people out there who like to hold on to the ball and don't like to do any build-up play, it's not going to work for you on this pitch, unfortunately. But yeah, I think in terms of playability overall, if I was going to give this place a rating, overall that's encompassing pitches, facilities, the people there, the ambience, the price, you know, how long they let you play for, because we got to play for an hour and a half. They said the pitch is free that you're going to play on. You might as well just go and start your game now. We got extra 20 minutes. We didn't have to pay a penny extra. So that you know, bumps up the score for me. I'll say in terms of the grand scheme of things of a football complex, it's got quite a nice vibe. People are nice there. The facilities are really good, apart from the function room, so to speak. But the pitches themselves, they're alright. They're not my type of pitches. I like the softer, more bouncy, you know, if you're playing in the rain or if you're playing on a slick surface where the ball just glides on the surface, kind of 3G, it is kind of one of those that the ball can stutter at times and you can't pick up top speed. So for that, I think I'll give it like a 6 out of 10, just because I think it's got everything else going for it. But the pitches themselves, I think they could relay the grass. Overall, I love football and I would go back to play there, but it wouldn't be my favourite pitch. Just a bit of advice to anybody going there: if you like to wear molds, probably wear some ankle supports because it is quite a tough pitch. But overall, 6 out of 10. And thanks to the Elmers End guys for having us. But for now, this is BLK signing out until I give you another review of another thing.